Should we perhaps move on if we want to discuss Binary Judy and her bottled intentions?
Sure, I know very little about her, so...
This is even more esoteric as far as I'm aware. Basically, and I think that most of the people in chat already know about this, the way in which it works is that you pay through the nose to buy a bottle which has embossed on the outside of it a word like success or motivation or longevity, and by drinking water out of this, those properties somehow transfer themselves to you. And I'm not entirely clear whether or not she actually claims that these bottles actually do anything to the water to give it any kind of magical properties, or whether it's simply like a meditational thing in that by drinking out of these you are concentrating on the things that you want in life. But I don't honestly know if anybody here could honestly try and explain to me how they work, and I would appreciate it. And I should update you as well. I'm still no growth on the moustache front.
Right.
Well, in the movie What the Bleep Do We Know, they mentioned something kind of like that, where they wrote different words on the bottle, and they said it changed the shape of the molecule. Like they put love on it, and the molecules are all this pretty crystalline thing. And then they wrote hate, and they were all jumbled up and crappy. And they said that by drinking the prettier looking molecules, it's somehow better for you or something, even though it doesn't actually have any effect on it.
If I can jump in there, I've actually looked at this because a while back I did a video addressed to a retired dentist called Len Horowitz, and he cited the work of a Japanese scientist called Emoto, I believe. I can't seem to find the paper, the one paper that he did. Unfortunately, so I'll have to do it from memory. Emoto teamed up with some people in America who basically wrote on some bottles and kept some samples locked away in a shielded room so that other people's emotions wouldn't affect them. They tried to infuse some with love and some with hate and all this sort of thing. They then used a freezer, froze the water, and selected some ice crystals under a microscope and took pictures of them. These pictures were then placed on a website where people were invited to come along and rate which ones they liked without knowing which bottle they'd come from. And they statistically found... Is that a picture of him? Because I've never seen him.
You'd hope so.
Yeah.
Either that or our technical team is just messing with us.
Right. And strangely enough, the people that viewed the website picked the ones they liked the best, and they correlated with the bottles of water with love and nice things on them. There are many things wrong with this protocol, including the fact that someone sat there and chose these crystals for their aesthetic value, and it's all very, very subjective stuff. And even if you accepted the contents of this paper as being valid in some way, it doesn't then support any of the health benefits that are supposedly related to this structured water.
Yeah, I mean, there's an interesting little control you can do for these experiments is to completely wrap the bottles in something that you can't see through and can't remove, and then provide people with the bottles and see how they perform without being able to see what the bottle's supposed to give them. So if they have happiness, they won't know there's actually happiness, and if they drink the water and don't get happy, well, obviously that's failed the control.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the other thing is, too, if it's words that you can print on a bottle, then can it be in any language? Do you have to understand the word? Is there something powerful about English that other languages can't do?
Well, the ones that he tested, if I remember right, were in Japanese.
Yeah. So if you give a Japanese bottle to somebody who doesn't know a word of Japanese, would they still have the same effects?
Well, technically, if that would work, then all those Japanese tattoos that people like to get, that would change them, and it doesn't change people.
But that's
Uh,
ink, that's not water.
I think that there's
But still,
obviously. Oops,
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead.
I was just going to say it's writing those words on humans, and humans are mostly water.
I thought of it like that.
We have to drink humans now, and I don't think I want to go down that path.
No, I meant like it would change the water inside the person. It would change them personally, but it doesn't do that.
What happens if you take that one person and then dilute them in a crowd of people and then take one person out of that crowd? I think that's how the homeopathy works, is you take a bit of real science and you dilute it in a load of bullshit. And the more you dilute it, the more scientific it gets.
At least
Now we're
that's how it
8 minutes
seems.
in. Skeptic TV has lost the plot. You were saying answers in book. I'm sorry.
Well, my point wasn't very much better. I was just going to say that I think that the language needs to be native to the area where you get your water from, so that it can understand it.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't followed too much of Binary Judy's videos, but what I have seen is she expects people not to criticize her work and just to like try it out for themselves. And that's the exact same thing I hear from homeopaths. That's the exact same thing I've heard from Waterworks for You. You know, who cares that there's no scientific papers? Why don't you try it for yourself? And if you see any improvement, therefore it works. And in the realm of clinical trials, that's called personal bias. That's why you have double-blind controls, is to completely eliminate personal bias from the controls.
Mm-hmm.
So their experiments won't work at all to let us know whether it actually does what it claims it does. It just says, well, if we get you to believe that it will work, maybe it will work.